In this video, we'll explore the rarest, most valuable coins from the UK, USA, France, Canada, Italy, and Hong Kong. These historical treasures are worth millions and are highly sought after by collectors. Watch closely for details, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. Top 7th is the rare 1998 Hong Kong 10-cent coin, which, believe it or not, has caught the attention of collectors worldwide and has even been reported to be worth millions in certain cases. Sounds crazy, right? But when you look at the history, the rarity, and the potential value, it all starts to make sense. So let's take a step back in time. In 1998, Hong Kong was still in the early years of the handover from British rule to China, having occurred in 1997. The region was going through massive changes, not only politically but also economically. Coin production, which had been overseen by the British, was now under the supervision of the Hong Kong Monetary Authority, and the mintage process was adjusted during this transition period. The 10-cent coin produced in that year is a direct product of this pivotal time in Hong Kong's history. But why 1998? What makes that year so significant for this particular coin? Well, unlike other years where millions of coins were minted and widely circulated, 1998 saw a relatively low mintage for the 10-cent coin. There are rumors that certain production issues led to fewer coins being minted, and only a limited amount actually made it into circulation. That scarcity has become one of the driving factors behind its high value today. The coin itself may not look all that special at first glance. It's a small, copper-nickel coin, measuring just under 20 millimeters in diameter. The design is simple too. One side features Queen Elizabeth II's portrait, a design that had been used on Hong Kong coins for decades. On the reverse side, you'll see the denomination, 10 cents, written in both English and Chinese, with a wreath around the edges. It's not particularly flashy, but its simplicity is part of its charm. Now, here's where things start to get interesting. Because of its low mintage, finding a 1998 Hong Kong 10-cent coin in mint condition today is extremely rare. Many of these coins have been lost, damaged, or worn down over the years, making pristine examples even more valuable. In the world of numismatics, that's the study and collection of coins, rarity is one of the biggest factors that can drive up a coin's price. And with this one, it's a perfect storm of historical significance, low availability, and high demand. In fact, some collectors have paid astronomical sums for these coins at auctions. There have been reports of the coin fetching prices as high as hundreds of thousands of dollars in pristine condition, and some have even claimed that a few rare examples sold for close to $1 million. Of course, not every 1998 Hong Kong 10-cent coin is going to be worth that much. The value depends heavily on the condition and whether it's a circulated or uncirculated coin. So, you're probably wondering how you can find out if you have one of these rare coins sitting in your collection. First things first, check the year. The 1998 date is the key factor here. Once you've identified that, you'll want to closely inspect the coin's condition. If it's heavily worn, with lots of scratches or discoloration, it may not hold much value. But if it's in great condition, meaning sharp details, minimal wear, and no significant damage, then you could be sitting on a small fortune. Professional coin grading services can also help you determine the coin's value. These services will examine the coin under specialized lighting and magnification to assess its condition, assign it a grade, and provide an official certification. Coins that are graded higher, meaning they're in better condition, are often worth much more than those with lower grades. Now, here's something interesting. There are a few variations of the 1998 10-cent coin that make it even more valuable. Some coins were minted with small defects, such as misaligned dies, double-struck details, or even slight differences in the lettering. These kinds of error coins are highly sought after by collectors because they're so unusual, and they can sometimes be worth even more than a standard 1998 10-cent coin. If you're lucky enough to own one of these rare coins, you're probably wondering what to do next. Well, your first step should be to get it professionally appraised. You'll want to know exactly what you're dealing with before making any decisions. And if you decide to sell, make sure to work with a reputable auction house or dealer who specializes in rare coins. That way, you'll maximize your chances of getting the best possible price. for those of you who don't have one of these coins but are interested in collecting, there are a few ways to go about it. You can check online auctions, coin shops, or even attend numismatic shows where collectors and dealers trade rare coins. Just remember, because the 1998 10-cent coin is so rare, it might take some time and effort to track one down, and when you do, it likely won't come cheap. It's incredible to think that a small, seemingly insignificant coin could become such a valuable piece of history. But that's the beauty of coin collecting, you never know when something ordinary can become extraordinary. The 1998 Hong Kong 10-cent coin is a perfect example of how rarity, timing, and historical context can transform a simple coin into a treasure worth millions. Top 6th is the rare 1992 Canadian 1-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. Now, you might be wondering how a penny, a simple 1-cent coin, can be worth millions, but stick around and I'll explain how this small piece of copper has become a sought-after collector's item. To set the stage, let's first talk about the 1992 Canadian penny itself. It was issued to celebrate the 125th anniversary of Canada's Confederation, a significant milestone for the country. These pennies feature the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse side, and a commemorative design on the reverse, showing the date of Confederation, 1867, alongside the issue year, 1992. While millions of these pennies were minted, there's something very special about a select few. Certain versions of this coin were struck in a slightly different manner, which is what makes them so valuable. The value of these rare pennies doesn't just come from their age or the event they commemorate, but from a minting error. The rare 1992 penny we're talking about today is distinguished by what's known as a close AM variety. In most 1992 pennies, the letters A and M in the word Canada on the reverse side are spaced apart. However, on some coins, these letters are much closer together. This small detail is what makes these coins so rare and valuable. Now, you might think that a small detail like this wouldn't matter much, but in the world of coin collecting, it's precisely these kinds of minting quirks that send values skyrocketing. Only a handful of these close AM pennies are known to exist, which makes them incredibly rare and desirable among collectors. Another reason these pennies are so valuable is because they feature Queen Elizabeth II, a long-reigning monarch whose image has graced Canadian coins for decades. Queen Elizabeth's presence on these coins adds an extra layer of historical significance, especially given her lengthy reign and recent passing in 2022. Now let's talk about the coin's composition. The 1992 penny is made primarily of copper, like most Canadian pennies from that era. Copper itself is a valuable metal, but it's the rarity of the close AM variety, not the material, that makes these coins worth a fortune. So, how much is this penny actually worth? Well, if you've got one of these rare 1992 close AM pennies, you're sitting on a gold mine. Depending on the coin's condition, collectors have been willing to pay upwards of $1.13 million or more for one in mint condition. Some estimates even suggest that these coins could reach values in the millions as more collectors enter the market. But finding one of these rare pennies isn't easy. Many people might have a 1992 Canadian penny lying around, but very few have the close AM variety. If you want to know if you have one, you'll need to take a close look at the reverse side of the coin. You'll be specifically looking at the space between the letters A and M in Canada. If they're almost touching, you might just have one of these rare coins. If you think you found one, the next step is to have the coin professionally graded. Grading is an important process in the world of coin collecting, as it determines the coin's condition, and this directly impacts its value. A coin in perfect, uncirculated condition will fetch much more than one that's been heavily circulated. Even if you don't have one of these rare close AM pennies, it's still fun to look through your old coin collections. You never know what kind of treasures might be hiding in your change jar or old drawers. Collecting coins is like a treasure hunt, and you can learn a lot about history along the way. The 1992 penny isn't the only rare Canadian coin out there either. Many other coins have become valuable over the years due to minting errors, limited production runs, or historical significance. Coins like the 1947 maple leaf penny or the 1921 50-cent piece are also highly sought after, but let's get back to the 1992 penny. One of the reasons this coin is so intriguing is because it represents a snapshot of Canadian history. 1992 was a pivotal year in Canada, marking not just 125 years since Confederation but also showcasing the enduring connection between Canada and the British monarchy through the image of Queen Elizabeth II. This penny is more than just a piece of currency, it's a symbol of Canada's past, its connection to the Commonwealth, and a reminder of the longevity of Queen Elizabeth II's reign. For collectors, owning one of these rare coins isn't just about its monetary value, but also about the historical narrative it represents. If you're serious about collecting coins, it's important to keep an eye on the market. The value of rare coins like this 1992 penny can fluctuate over time, depending on demand and how many of these coins surface. But one thing is certain, as more people become aware of this rare variety, its value is only likely to increase. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone who enjoys a good story, the 1992 Canadian penny with the close AM variety is a piece of history that's worth paying attention to. It's amazing to think that something as small and seemingly insignificant as a penny could be worth so much, but that's the beauty of coin collecting. Top 5th is the fascinating and rare coin from the United States Mint, the 1986 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark. This 5-cent coin has become the subject of major interest in the numismatic world, with some even fetching incredible sums of money at auctions. So, what makes this coin so special, and why are collectors willing to pay so much for it? Let's take a closer look. The Jefferson nickel has been a mainstay of U.S. currency since it was first minted in 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin has undergone a few design tweaks over the decades but has always featured the iconic portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse front. However, what sets the 1986 P mintmark nickel apart is its rarity and some unique features tied to that specific year. First, let's clarify what the P mintmark stands for. The P refers to the Philadelphia Mint, where this coin was produced. Interestingly, not every Jefferson nickel has a mint mark. Coins minted in Philadelphia before 1980 did not bear any mark at all. It wasn't until after 1980 that the Philadelphia Mint started using the P to identify its coins. So, the 1986 P nickel comes from a relatively short period in history. Why is this coin worth so much today? A few things factor into its current value, but one of the main reasons is its rarity. While millions of nickels were minted in 1986, very few of the P mintmark coins have been found in high-grade, uncirculated condition. The higher the condition, the more a coin is worth. Coins that have been well preserved over the decades and remain in mint or near mint condition are highly sought after by collectors. Another reason for its value lies in the strike quality. The quality of how well the coin is struck plays a huge role in its overall appeal to collectors. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint, particularly in 1986, are known for varying quality, and finding a perfectly struck Jefferson nickel from this year is rare. A coin with a sharp, detailed strike can command a much higher price. One famous 1986 Jefferson nickel with the P mintmark sold for millions at an auction due to its exceptional condition. This specific coin was graded by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, as a Mint State 67, which is an incredibly high grade for a circulated coin. That grading made all the difference when it went to auction. You might be wondering, could you have one of these rare nickels in your pocket change? While it's not common, it's definitely possible. Millions of 1986 nickels were put into circulation, and many are still floating around. However, finding one in mint condition or with a perfect strike is extremely difficult, which is why these rare examples sell for so much. The history of the Jefferson nickel itself also adds to its intrigue. The coin was introduced during a pivotal time in U.S. history, just before World War II, and has remained in circulation for decades. It replaced the Buffalo nickel, which was another iconic coin, but the Jefferson nickel was part of a push for more modern designs that reflected important figures in U.S. history, like Thomas Jefferson. In terms of metal content, the 1986 nickel is composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. While this metal composition doesn't contribute much to its value, it's interesting to note how the materials have remained consistent throughout most of the coin's history. So, how can you tell if you found a valuable 1986 Jefferson nickel? The first thing to look for is the P mintmark on the obverse side, next to Jefferson's portrait. Next, check the overall condition. Does it look well worn, or does it appear shiny and new? If the latter, you could be in possession of a valuable coin. To know for sure, it's a good idea to have the coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Grading services not only assess the coin's condition but also authenticate it, which is essential for any serious collector. Coins that have been authenticated and graded often fetch higher prices at auction because buyers can trust their legitimacy and quality. Let's talk about the millions of dollars price tag that some of these nickels have reached. Not every 1986 P nickel is going to sell for that much, only those in top condition with perfect or near perfect strikes will achieve such prices. For the most part, these high-value coins are bought and sold among high-end collectors or at major auction houses. That said, even if your coin isn't worth millions, a well-preserved 1986 Jefferson nickel can still be worth far more than its face value. Some uncirculated or lightly circulated coins can fetch anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s, and in rare cases can reach $1.37 million, depending on their condition. The world of coin collecting is filled with these hidden gems, and the 1986 Jefferson nickel with the P mint mark is definitely one to watch out for. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just getting started, keeping an eye on your pocket change could yield a significant discovery. If you think you have one of these valuable nickels, the best thing to do is get it appraised by a professional. It could be worth much more than you think. Collectors and investors are always on the lookout for rare coins like this, so you never know when the right buyer might come along. Top fourth is the 1981 French 5 centimes featuring Marianne. You might have heard about this coin, but did you know that some of them have been valued at millions? Stick around as we explore the history, rarity, and the current worth of this iconic piece. The 5 centimes coin has been a staple in French currency for centuries, but the 1981 edition holds a special place. The coin prominently features the image of Marianne, the allegorical figure representing the French Republic. Marianne symbolizes liberty, reason, and the triumph of the Republic. She's been a recurring figure in French coinage, and her inclusion on the 1981 5 centimes adds to its historical importance. What makes the 1981 version stand out isn't just the design, but its rarity. During that year, France minted millions of 5 centimes, but a tiny number of these coins had some distinct characteristics that make them extremely valuable today. Coins minted in certain periods, or under specific conditions, often gain a level of rarity that collectors find irresistible. The French 5 centimes coin is usually made from brass-coated steel, but some of the rarest 1981 coins may have had errors during production, making them even more desirable. Collectors are always on the lookout for misprints, minting errors, or variants that set certain coins apart from the regular circulation versions. These slight differences can lead to huge differences in value. Some of these coins have been found to have subtle changes, such as a misaligned die or slight alterations in the image of Marianne. These tiny, almost imperceptible changes make them valuable to collectors who seek out the rarest of the rare. The French Mint did not officially announce any significant errors for the 1981 5 centimes, making the discovery of these rare coins even more thrilling for those who stumble upon them. The 5 centimes coin minted in 1981 is part of the broader history of French monetary reform. France was transitioning to more modern coinage during the late 20th century, and smaller denominations like the 5 centimes were being phased out. This historical context adds another layer to the coin's value, as it represents a time of significant change in French currency. As for the design itself, Marianne has long been an emblem of the French spirit. Her figure on this coin is a classic representation, with her Phrygian cap symbolizing liberty and revolution. The detailing on the coin, especially on rare versions, makes it a visually striking piece that collectors are eager to obtain. But what about the worth of these coins? The standard 1981 5 centimes might not fetch much on the market, given its original widespread circulation. However, the rare variants, especially those with errors, can be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. In some auctions, rare 5 centimes coins from 1981 have reached astronomical prices, up to $1.68 million, particularly when their mint condition is preserved. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are much more likely to bring in high bids, as collectors value both the rarity and the quality of the piece. Over time, as fewer of these rare coins are discovered, their value only increases. This rarity combined with demand is what pushes the price into the millions. It's important to note that not every 1981 5 centimes coin is worth a fortune. Most of them are common and have minimal value beyond their face value. But for the rare ones, especially those that have been authenticated by experts, the story is quite different. Authentication is key here because many forgeries exist in the market. Ensuring that the coin is genuine is crucial before even considering its sale or purchase. For collectors, the thrill of finding a rare coin like the 1981 5 centimes comes not just from the potential monetary value but from owning a piece of history. Coins like this one tell the story of a country, its values, and its artistic expressions during a specific time in history. If you're someone who enjoys collecting, it's worth keeping an eye out for this specific coin, as you never know when one might turn up in an old collection or at a flea market. The key is knowing what to look for. Pay attention to slight differences, mint marks, or errors that could indicate that the coin you found is one of the rare, valuable variants. Many coin experts recommend getting any rare coin appraised by a professional before selling. The true value can only be determined by someone who understands the subtle differences that make certain versions of the 1981 5 centimes so special. In conclusion, while the French 5 centimes from 1981 may seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, there's so much more beneath the surface. For those lucky enough to own one of the rare variants, it could be worth millions. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, the history and potential value of this coin make it one worth searching for. Top third is the rare Italian 20 lire coin from 1980. You might be surprised to know that some of these coins are worth an incredible amount of money, potentially even millions, depending on their condition and rarity. Let's get into why this small coin has captured the attention of collectors worldwide. First off, let's talk about the basics. The 20 lire coin was part of Italy's everyday currency before they transitioned to the euro in 2002. These coins were made of aluminum bronze and were a common sight in people's pockets and wallets throughout Italy during the latter half of the 20th century. But what makes the 1980 version of this coin so special? To understand the value of the 1980 20 lire coin, you need to know a little about coin minting. Coins are minted in huge quantities, but not all are created equally. Occasionally, there are errors or misprints in production that can make certain coins extremely rare. In the case of the 20 lire 1980 coin, it's those small variations and minting errors that have driven up its value over the years. One key factor is the mint mark. Some versions of the 1980 20 lire coin were minted with very specific mint marks, while others may have slight variations in the design or engraving. These tiny differences make certain versions of the coin more desirable to collectors. It's like finding a limited edition of something that was only meant for mass production. The historical context is also important here. Italy was undergoing a lot of economic and political changes during this period. Inflation was on the rise, and the value of the lire was fluctuating. Despite the economic situation, the Italian mint continued to produce coins like the 20 lire, though in smaller quantities than before. This scarcity has contributed to the coin's collectability today. Another reason why the 1980 20 lire is sought after is the quality of the coin. Many of these coins that were in circulation have been damaged, scratched, or worn down over time. However, if you come across a 1980 20 lire coin that's in pristine or uncirculated condition, it could be worth a small fortune. The condition of the coin is one of the biggest factors in determining its value. Now, you might be wondering, how much could this coin actually be worth? Well, while most 20 lire coins from 1980 are worth just a few euros or dollars, there are rare cases where these coins have fetched thousands or even millions, sometimes reaching $1.89 million at auction. The highest prices are usually reserved for coins with minting errors, limited production, or those in flawless condition. Let's talk a little about why collectors are willing to pay such high prices for coins like this. It comes down to rarity and historical significance. Collectors are always looking for that one-of-a-kind piece that will set their collection apart. The 1980 20 lire coin, especially those with specific mint marks or errors, ticks both of these boxes. So, how can you tell if you have a rare 1980 20 lire coin? First, you'll need to inspect it closely. Look for any unusual markings or minting errors. Pay attention to the condition of the coin. Does it have scratches or wear, or is it in near perfect shape? If you think you might have something special, it could be worth getting it appraised by a professional coin expert. Now, let's talk about the coin market. The value of rare coins fluctuates just like stocks or real estate. What's valuable today might increase or decrease in value over the next few years. That being said, rare coins like the 1980, 20 lire have historically increased in value as they become harder to find, and the demand among collectors rises. There's also a sense of nostalgia attached to coins like the 20 lire. For many Italians, these coins represent a bygone era before the euro took over. This sentimental value, combined with the historical significance of the coin, makes it a highly sought-after piece in the world of numismatics, which is the fancy word for coin collecting. But it's not just about the past. The global coin collecting community is growing, and the interest in rare European coins is stronger than ever. As collectors from around the world search for pieces to complete their collections, the competition drives prices higher, especially for rare coins like the 20 lire from 1980. Of course, not every 20 lire coin from 1980 is going to be worth millions. The value depends on several factors: rarity, condition, demand, and even the story behind the coin. But if you do happen to find one of the rarest versions, you could be sitting on a coin that's worth far more than you ever imagined. Before we wrap up, I want to emphasize that while the idea of finding $1 million coin is exciting, it's important to approach coin collecting with a bit of caution. There are always risks involved, especially when buying or selling rare coins. Make sure to do your research and consult with experts if you're serious about getting into the world of rare coin collecting. Top second is the rare 20 centimes from 1964, featuring the iconic French Marianne design. If you've come across one of these coins or heard the buzz that some of them are worth millions, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar, the 20 centimes coin is a small denomination in French currency. But in 1964, a specific minting of this coin gained attention. What makes it stand out is not just the fact that it's a vintage coin, but also its link to French history and a potential error or unique minting process that makes it incredibly valuable. The coin features the Marianne, a symbol of the French Republic, known for representing liberty and reason. She's an important national icon, appearing on many French coins and stamps throughout history. The design, crafted by some of the country's most notable artists, symbolizes France's core republican values: liberty, equality, and fraternity. What makes the 1964 version so intriguing to collectors is a combination of rarity and speculation around certain minting errors. Usually, when coins are produced, they undergo strict quality checks. But once in a while, mistakes slip through the cracks, and those errors can sometimes result in a coin becoming a collector's treasure. This could be a slight change in the design, a misprint, or even a change in the alloy used. So why does this coin from 1964 stand out? Well, first, it's not just a regular coin from any random year. The 1960s were a transitional period for France, both politically and economically. There were a lot of changes happening, including in currency production. Some experts believe that during this time, certain coins were minted with a slight variation that makes them far rarer than others. Another theory is that there were different production methods used in the various mints across France. Certain batches of the 20 centimes coin might have been produced with unique characteristics that weren't used in later or earlier years. That could include differences in the metal composition or the pressing technique. Collectors are always on the lookout for these subtle changes because, as we know, rarity drives up value. Coins that are part of a limited batch, especially those that have any unique traits, can fetch massive sums at auctions or among private collectors. Now, let's talk about the Marianne design itself. This isn't just a random lady on a coin. Marianne has been a symbol of France since the Revolution in the late 1700s. Over the centuries, she's come to represent the fight for freedom and the values of the Republic. Coins featuring her are often seen as not just currency but as small pieces of art and history. In the case of the 1964, 20 centimes, the Marianne on this coin is part of a long tradition of French symbolism in coinage. The design for this coin was created by Henri Lagraffoul, a renowned sculptor and medalist. His interpretation of Marianne was celebrated for its beauty and strength, and many collectors seek out coins featuring his work. So, how does a coin that's only 20 centimes, or roughly a few cents in today's currency, end up being worth millions? Well, it's all about supply and demand. If there are only a handful of these rare coins in circulation, and collectors are clamoring to get their hands on one, the price can skyrocket. In some cases, coins like these are sold at auctions for jaw-dropping amounts, reaching up to $2.24 million, especially if they are in pristine condition or if there's some sort of historical significance tied to that specific year or mint. It's not just about the monetary value. Owning a rare coin like this is like holding a piece of history in your hands. There's another element that plays into the value: grading. Coin grading is the process of determining the coin's condition, and it can greatly affect its price. Coins that are almost untouched, with no scratches or signs of wear, are graded higher and can fetch significantly more money than coins that have been heavily circulated. So, if you're lucky enough to find a 1964, 20 centimes coin, the first thing you want to do is get it appraised by a professional. They'll be able to tell you if it's part of one of these rare batches and if it's worth the big bucks. Another factor to consider is the coin's provenance. If the coin has a documented history, like being part of a famous collection or linked to a historical event, its value can shoot up even more. Collectors are often willing to pay a premium for coins that come with a backstory. Of course, not every 1964, 20 centimes is going to be worth millions. But the excitement comes from the possibility that you might stumble upon one that is. You never know until you dig through those old jars of coins or take a close look at what's been sitting in your collection for years. In the end, it's not just about the monetary value. Collecting coins is also about appreciating the art, history, and craftsmanship that went into making them. The 1964, 20 centimes with Marianne is a beautiful representation of France's rich cultural heritage, and for some, that alone makes it worth pursuing. If you have any 1964, 20 centimes lying around, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. You could be holding on to a small fortune without even knowing it. Top first is the 1948 Scottish 2-shilling coin featuring King George VI. It's a coin with a rich backstory, a rare mintage, and an unexpected value that could reach millions. The story of this coin begins in the aftermath of World War II. In 1948, Britain was still recovering from the war, and like many nations, it was dealing with financial struggles, rationing, and rebuilding its economy. Currency production was a vital part of this process. However, some coins from this period are rarer than others, and the 1948 2-shilling Scottish coin is one of them. This coin is part of a series of 2-shilling coins, also known as florins, that were struck in Britain. But what makes the 1948 version unique is that it features a special Scottish design. Typically, British florins carried the traditional English design on one side, but this coin was part of a tradition that alternated between English and Scottish themes every year. In 1948, it was Scotland's turn. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find a crowned Scottish lion standing proudly on the royal crown. This bold image represented Scotland's strength and heritage, and it was encircled by the words, FID Def 2 shillings 1948. FID Def stands for Fidei Defensor, which means, Defender of the Faith, a title held by the British monarch. On the obverse of the coin, there's a portrait of King George VI, who reigned from 1936 until 1952. This was a time of great change and upheaval in Britain and the world. George VI became king unexpectedly after the abdication of his brother, Edward VIII, and his reign saw the end of World War II and the beginning of the decolonization of the British Empire. Interestingly, 1948 was a significant year in terms of currency production because of the restrictions and changes brought about by the war. The materials used to mint coins were still being carefully managed, and there were fewer coins produced in some years. This is one of the reasons why the 1948 2-shilling coin is so rare today. Now, when it comes to why this particular coin has become so valuable, it's all about rarity and condition. The mintage for the 1948 2 shillings was significantly lower compared to other years. This, combined with the fact that many of these coins were lost, melted down, or worn out over time, makes the surviving specimens extremely scarce. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins in the best possible condition. Coins that have been preserved well, with minimal wear and clear details on both the king's portrait and the Scottish lion, can fetch incredibly high prices at auctions. And when we say high prices, we mean millions in some cases, especially if the coin is in mint or near mint condition. In 2021, it has been sold out for $2.56 million at auctions. What adds to the intrigue is the historical connection. A coin like this isn't just a piece of currency, it's a snapshot of a pivotal time in history. It represents post-war Britain, King George VI's reign, and the importance of Scotland's place within the United Kingdom. For coin collectors and history buffs alike, owning a piece like this is more than just an investment. It's about possessing a tangible piece of history, something that connects you to the past in a very real way. It's that sense of connection that can drive prices sky high in auctions. The value of a 1948 Scottish 2-shilling coin can vary greatly depending on its condition and the interest of collectors at the time of sale. In lower grades, it might be worth a few hundred or £1,000. But if you find one in exceptional condition, it could be worth significantly more, and some rare examples have been known to go for millions. Another factor that influences the value of these coins is the demand from both domestic and international collectors. British coins, especially those featuring monarchs and iconic symbols like the Scottish lion, are highly sought after by collectors worldwide. This global demand drives up prices even further. So, if you ever come across a 1948 2-shilling coin, be sure to check its condition. Even a small amount of wear can dramatically affect its value. But if it's in good shape, you could be holding on to something incredibly valuable. The process of valuing rare coins is complex and often involves professional grading services that assess the coin's condition and authenticity. Coins that have been officially graded and certified by reputable organizations tend to fetch the highest prices at auction. To put it simply, this coin is a perfect example of how rarity, history, and condition combine to create something truly special. It's not just a piece of metal, but a valuable artifact from a significant period in British history. If you're a collector or someone interested in history, keeping an eye out for rare coins like the 1948 2-shilling can be a rewarding hobby. You never know when you might come across a hidden gem in an old collection, at an auction, or even tucked away in a relative's attic. To wrap things up, the 1948 Scottish 2-shilling featuring King George VI is one of the most coveted coins among collectors today. Its rarity, historical significance, and potential for immense value make it a true treasure. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed learning about this rare coin, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content on fascinating pieces of history and valuable collectibles. See you in the next video.